everybody, welcome back. You know who it is on JJ's PC Builds. Today we're going to jump into the benchmarks. We're going to take and finish off this finale. I know last video I said I wanted to do one more for, the outlook and everything else, but it seems that, I'm just going to take and call this the finale, and we're just going to go through a little bit of benchmarking, and at the end I'll give you my final thoughts. So let's go ahead and get right to it and switch over to the action screen and get it all started. Instead of me actually showing you a roadmap of the benchmarks, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the benchmarks I took and I screenshotted and I pulled together for you all. So this is going to be Time Spy. What we're going to do is this is going to be the benchmark for the 5600G. Okay. We're going to go ahead and just pull this up a little bit, try to make it bigger for you. I'm doing it step by step so you all see that, you can see the numbers, you can see what it is. There we go. So next I'm going to pull up the 5600X3D. And we're going to get that going. So I'm going to pull up Time Spy for the 5600X3D. And we're going to put them side by side, try to do a side by side, and make this one bigger. I know I could have made a benchmark chart for y'all, but basically I wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to do the factor of pulling the screenshots of the benchmarks up and showing you all that it's, what I've come up with. So I know a lot of people are going to say, well, you don't have to do all that, Yeah, I do. I mean, if we look at it and we think about it, it's well warranted. So let's go ahead and get the last one up on the screen. And we'll just pull that one right in and do the same thing. I know I could have had all this set up, but I want you all to see it as I'm bringing it in. So that way y'all can see that, it's all legit. Okay. Now, this is the thing. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, 3D Mark's not really, really a good benchmarking tool. Well, if it wasn't a very good benchmarking tool, a lot of people wouldn't be trying to get a high score on it, now would they? And also make sure you get your drinks and your snacks with you as well. So, since a lot of reviewers used 3D Mark to benchmark some of their stuff, I'm going to do the same thing. So as you're looking at the scores, this is just Time Spy. You're looking at the 5600G over to your left, would be left on your screen. It's 15,035. It says it's good. Its graphics score is 18,742. And the CPU score is 7,090. Moving over to the 5600X3D. Total score they say it's great, but it's 15,079. With a graphics score of 18,044 and a CPU score of 7,809. Moving over to the Ryzen 7 5700X, it's 15,912 total score with a graphics score of 18,244 and a CPU score of 9,228. So basically what we're looking at is the CPU scores. And it looks like, that times by the 5700X seems like it's more of an ideal choice. But the runner-up is going to be the 5600X3D and then the 5600G. So, but they're all within the 15,000 range, as you can notice. And you do notice that the Ryzen 5 5600G is not doing too bad of trying to keep up with, believe it or not, the 5600X3D. Now, I'm showing you a comparison amongst the three. It doesn't get much better than that, knowing that, and I'm going to say it's looking like so far that the 5700X is a little bit faster in some of the gaming in futuristics, but it's going to be a little bit faster than the 5600X3D. But I know that there is some testing that was done with the Ryzen AM5 series amongst the AM4 to the AM5, and that the AM4 looked like it was, the 5600X3D looks like it was more triumphant, over the the lower end of the AM5 series. But, it's all on the testing, and I'm going to tell you all that right now. It's all about the testing. It's how you test. I'm testing with the AM4 series. I don't have nothing AM5 yet, but I'm testing with the AM4 series. I'm going from the 5600G, the low man on the pole, up to the 5700X with the biggest man on the pole. So amongst these three processors, that tells me a lot in the spectrum of how it's balancing out. And in between, yes, the 5600X3D is in between the 5600G and the 5700X. So, right in between those margins, you have to look at it, and no matter what comes in between those margins, it's going to be, you're going to get a comparison, that in between those three, that's all you really need. So, I know on the last video I said, it wouldn't be a great buy, if it was a collector's item, I said that, yeah, and it was not to steer you away from buying it. If you want to buy it, buy it. I mean, it's not a bad processor. And for the bundled deal, it's not bad either. But there are more bundled deals out there too. Do remember that. For a little bit more, if you want to, stay above the curve, of, compatibility and stuff like that, then, you're best to, spend a couple more bucks, go to the AM5 series. But, I'd wait until either the AM6 series comes out, truthfully. But if you want to buy now, that's up to you. That's your money, and I'm not telling you how to buy it. But, if it was me, I'm going to wait until the AM6 series to see what that's going to bring compared to what the AM5 series is bringing. Plus, they're going to be having that new RAM come out, for the 6 series. So I'm waiting to see that, because that's supposed to be a lot faster RAM than the AM, for the AM6 it's supposed to be like what, Gen 7 series or something like that. It's all confusing. But it's not going to be confusing when it gets down the road and then everybody looks back and says, okay, well, I'm on the 6 series. I got, you know, I mean, it's hard to explain, but you guys get the point. You know, if you want to move up to the next series, that's up to you. But if you want something that's low cost and everything else, AM4 series has already been seasoned. It already has the driver aspects, everything. I'm running the RTX 4070 with these 3 processors. And it seems like, you can see the response. So moving on down the road, let's not get too long-winded because I still got my conclusion at the end about, all this. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to close these out. So you're getting a very good idea of from the 5600G to the 5600 X3D to the 5700X, you're getting a good idea in between the 3. So that's pretty much what I'm giving you is the idea of what it's doing on my system, but everybody else's system it could be operating differently because we all don't operate the same. That's what gives us our advantage of being reviewers, is that for the simple fact that we all don't do this. If we all don't do the same thing and we do something different, then it's going to bring more light to the consumer and give them a better idea of what's going on. So they're not looking at all at one one copy of somebody else's test and everything else, but this is mine. This is my these are my tests that I'm doing off of my processors. Just to let you know that they're off of my processors. They're not paid by anybody, and I'm just going to leave that there too. Nobody sponsored me to do this. I'm doing this on my own. So we got the 5600G for Firestrike. There we go. We got the 5600G for Firestrike. And there's the results I got from the 5600G. Now, moving on. Let's keep moving on down the road to the 5600X3D for Firestrike. Hopefully I didn't do this twice. Ooh, that would be bad. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Now, this is the 5600X3D. Now, just giving you a little bit more of an idea so you can see now the test results of this. Between the 5600G and the 5600X3D. Now, let's move on down the road to the 5700X. Now we're moving up to the 5700X. So we'll go ahead and just plug that in. We'll make it bigger for you all. We'll make it a little bit bigger. Okay. Now, here's another impression for y'all. These are all tests I've done on the same system. I've done on the same with the same video card, the same RAM, the same same SSD drive. Everything is the same. Same computer case, everything. All I did was switch my processors out. So looking at the 5600G compared to the 5600X3D, it's not that far away from each other, except for the physics score and the combined score. If the 5600G give a little bit more of those, then I'm sure it would be right up to the competition mark of the 5600X3D. Now, coming to the 5700X to the 5600X3D, we got a couple thousand different between the two, but looks like the graphics scores are a little bit higher. The physics score is definitely a bit higher, but the combined score is kind of almost equal out to each other. But it's not bad. You still got three great processors, but it looks like the 5700X is definitely taking the lead over the 5600X 3D and the 5600G. Now, and I know y'all are wondering, why am I putting the 5600G with an iGPU into the mix? Well, it has a processor on it. As long as it has a processor on it, I could use a graphics card with it, and I can test it just like the rest. So yes, I can use the 5600G as a test marker on this as well, because this gives me a good idea what's below the 5600X, right? And what's below the 5600, the 5600X, and that just tells me what's in between. So looking at what's in between the 5600X 3D and the 5600G is going to be wrapped up somewhere in between the two is the 5600 and the 5600X. Just my impressions. But like I said, the Ryzen 7 5700X is definitely taking the lead over the 5600X 3D. Now, do remind you, this is baseline testing. Okay, baseline testing. All the testing on all the processors is done the same way. Set up in the BIOS the same way. Everything is done the same way. So moving on down the road, let's see what Night Raid has to show. So you guys can pause the video to have a look at the benchmarks. The benchmarks are about as real as it's going to get. I took my time in them, and I did not run this with OBS. Okay, these benchmarks I did not do with OBS for a reason. I wanted nothing running on my system whatsoever. I wanted to benchmark it right here, so that way I can see if it's going to be worthy or not. I didn't want nothing to skew the test, so that's the reason why I benchmarked it, not recording it or anything else. You know, later on down the road, we can always do a recorded benchmark, and that way y'all can see it's still going to come up be the same. So it really doesn't matter. Night Raid 5600G. And yes, I did put the name of the processor on the screenshot. Reason is because all that little lettering that's down below, you probably can't really read it, so I had to put a name on it. And I'm sure you can see it's with the RTX 4070. Right below where the main number is, right here, you can see right here it says nvidia GeForce RTX 4070. And that's with the 5600G. It took me a little while to get this all benchmarked out, but I didn't want to do too much benchmarking at the end because I didn't want to spoil the fashion of the way the ending's going to go. But I'm going to tell you, so far I have seen what I've needed to see. I can see the 5600G is definitely keeping up with the 5600X 3D. So let's go ahead and get the next benchmark in here, and that is the 5600X 3D. We'll go ahead and make it bigger, move it over, So that way y'all can see that too. So far on Night Raid, it looks like that the graphics score is a little bit higher than it is from the 5600G to the 5600X3D. A little bit higher. So yeah, you got a little bit of a difference here between the two. It's a DirectX 12, like Firestrike is a DirectX 11, and then you got Time Spy, which is DirectX 12. So, you know, it's a little bit of different between the three and the different DirectXs. So as you can see, the 5600 X3D is not doing a bad job at all. So let's see what happens when we plug in the next one, the 5700X. Alrighty. Coming to the 5700X. Let's go ahead and make it bigger so this way y'all can see it. So y'all don't think I'm skewing the test or anything else. This way you can see it's all legit. Because I had somebody mail me, what was it, the other day, saying my test ain't legit. I'm gonna cry BS. I'm gonna tell you BS. I'm not gonna say bull. I'm not gonna say that. But I am gonna show you the results. And I hate to say this, on Night Raid, even though that the 5700X took the lead, but when it comes to the graphics scores, I think the 5600X3D gave a better score on that. But on the CPU score, it looks like the 5700X did a lot better on the CPU score than the 5600X3D. That probably would be expected because of the cache, you know. But as you can see, you know, trying to keep it fine lined and trying to keep it, you know, legit amongst the three, I can tell you it looks like the 5600G is keeping up with somewhat the 5600X3D, and that 5600X3D is somewhat keeping up with the 5700X in just these three tests alone. Okay, so I'm not going to make this a long video, and I'm going to get to the conclusion of this. So this way, we don't have to make it a terribly long video. I'm going to make this one a short one, because this is going to be the finalization. I think, in my books, the 5700X has it for the win. But the 5600X3D could be a lot better for your gaming when it comes to AAA gaming and stuff like that than the 5700X. I think they're pulling neck and neck over on that section when it comes between the 5700X and the 5600X3D. I think they're pulling neck and neck a little bit. You know, since it's pulling neck, the 5600X3D is pulling neck and neck with the 7600 over on the AM5 platform. But like I said, everybody has their own way of testing, their own motherboards that they're using, and own processors. So you can't really, say that it's your test until you test it yourself. So if I didn't test that myself over about the AM5 series, I can't really say how it's really going to roll, but I can tell you what I've been hearing of what it's been rolling to. But I can tell you amongst these three processors, which I have here, I have here, and I have here. Oh my god. There. Because if you notice, one right here says Radeon, right? This one says AMD 3D V Cache, right? So you know those are two separate boxes. And you know this one just says 5700. See? So, all in all, treetop tall, I think that, you know, all three processors are really good processors. But the one thing that is kind of stinking me a little bit is the price. I know with the collector's item, you can't really look at price as being a factor to it, but I'm kind of looking at something else too. I'm looking at something a little bit different. So let's go to the action screen again, just for a couple minutes, so we don't make it too terribly long of a video. So what I'm going to do is pull this over here. Okay, so we're going to go to Amazon, right? So we're going to hit for Amazon. What we're going to do is we'll look up the 5700X, right? So the 5700X is $191. Now, at the time of me getting the 5700X, it was a lot lower than that. It was like about maybe in 180, 187 or something like that. But it went back up to, 187. But mine's brand new. So it went up to 187. So also too, look at the factor that they got the 5700X with the same gaming board that comes with when you buy the bundle package for the 5600X3D. Comes with the same tough board that you see here for the 5700 8-core. Okay, so the difference is you're paying $329 for the 5600X3D. You're paying $100 for the motherboard and RAM together. So you're paying $229 and $100 you're paying $329. So, and that's for getting the bundle package. You only can get it at Micro Center. If you go to Micro Center, if they still got them, then you know you reached gold. So, but looking at this, you know, you still got to look at, you got to buy the, if you want to be safe and buy the warranty, buy the warranty. If you don't want the warranty, then that's up to you. But I would suggest get the warranty on the processor at least. You know. That way they can either give you an equal processor or give you one that's next step up from that processor to replace the processor that you have. And that is a part of the package deal. And I did ask that question. They have to, and you pay for the warranty, they have to honor it. So just keep that in mind too. But I'm sure if you're looking for a package deal, you can get it a lot cheaper too. You know, with the 50, if you're thinking about the 5700X, I'm sure you can get the package deal down in price. You know, I'm sure you can get it down in price. It's just a matter of, you know, looking around and see what you can find. Now they got the 5600X for $289 with the motherboard, and that's a B550 Pro, the VDH Pro Series motherboard for $289, and you get the processor. Looks like it comes with the cooler, and you got the motherboard. but it looks like you only got very minimal coverage on your VRMs, so can't really say that's a really good package. If you get the 5800X, it's $231, so it's a couple dollars more than it. This is $2 more than the 5600X3D. So if you can't get your hands on this, but you want to get an X3D in the AM4 series, looks like Amazon's got that pick right here for $231 on the 5800X. Well, no, it's 5800X, not the X3D, but y'all get the point on it. So, I mean, if you're looking for a bundle package, just do AM. I'm gonna put AM5 bundle package. Just to see. So that's AM4. I put AM5. Ryzen 5. Okay. So you get the 7600X for $229. The same price as the 5600X 3D for the same price. And wow. Let's see. That's the B650 Aorus Elite for $199. What I'm doing is I'm looking for an AM5 package that looks like it's, worth something. That's worth, talking about and everything else. But from what I'm seeing right now is that I'm not seeing too much on that being a talking point. I really don't see that too much being a talking point. Let's see. Let's change a couple things around here just to be safe. Put AMD DDR5 Okay, so they got one at $8.99. They got one at $4.49. Like I said, if you're going to get a bundle package, it's going to be a couple dollars more. They got the 7600 at $226. So you got the 7600X at $229. You're best just to get the $229, the 7600X, if you're going to go that route instead of going to the 7600. You might as well go to the 7600X. Get a little bit more juice out of your processor. If you're thinking about going to the AM5 series, there's going to be, you're going to have a lot to think about, as far as the motherboards and everything else. I cannot see, and I'm not going to steer you guys wrong and tell you to go to the AM5 series. I am going to tell you, you are going to be looking at a little bit of a price when it comes to going to that new platform to stay up to date. But, if it's something you can afford, that new platform, then so be it. Go for it. That's all I'm going to tell you. If you can afford the platform, then go for it. But if you can't, they got, 5600 megahertz, 92 $93 right here. Corsair Vengeance DDR5, so that's $90. You know, Z5, 32 gigs, 109. Let's see. CL36 DDR5, $109 for 6000 series DDR5. That seems like a better deal. 109, 32 gigs. Right there on Amazon. So y'all can see it right there. That looks like a better, even better. If they had a price there, then that would be worth it. Okay, so let's say you decide to go with the 7600X, right? Let's do one better. Let's go to PC Part Picker. I know this can. I'm just going to do this for a couple minutes so that way y'all can see. You know. Okay. Now, let's go to the builder. Let's take all this off of the board. Okay. Choose CPU. Okay, we'll do this. We'll choose a CPU. We'll say AM5. See what comes up for AM5. Oh, that seems like it's too long of a list. Okay, so we'll go to the Zen 4 series. Okay, so now you get an idea. The AM5 series that's going on right now. So you see the two right here. You get this right here. You wouldn't pick that up just to for say. You got that processor. Let's see, motherboard. You go and choose the motherboard for that. Let's see what we can get. Right now we're looking at 177. That's the lowest. 149 is even lower. That's an ASRock, the B650. That could be a competitor. 139 gigabyte B650. So we're at 139. We're still looking. 139, 124. I don't think you want the 620, so 139. 109. That's another. See, I'm not recommending the 620s, is because I've been hearing a lot of bad things about the 620s. You know, that you're not allowed to do, overclocking or anything else. You can't overclock with it. Everything's just basically like buying a computer from like your Walmart or something like that. That's kind of what it relates you to, is buying something like that. So let's see, B650 Asus Prime. Let's see, B650. Let's see. I always had good luck with the primes. So it's 128 gigabytes of DDR5 max. Memory speed will hold up to 5600 on its max. That's still not too bad. I think it'll go higher. I think that'll go a little bit higher. So it looks like you got two M.2s. RAID support, and people don't really care about RAID support. Let's see. Onboard Ethernet, yes. let's see, PCI slot. You got 3x16 slots. That's not bad. Got 3x16 slots, and that's what it says here. It's silver and black. Not too bad. Not too bad. Okay, so the Asus Prime right here. Add to the cart. Now, you already got the CPU cooler. Let's go with the memory. Let's go with the RAM. Okay, so right here, right off the top, if you want RGB, they got the G Skill right here, 6,000, $100. And that right there, that gives you approximately, that's 2x16. So that means it should be 32 gigs, which it is, and it's got RGB. So $99. Go ahead and add that to the cart. Okay, now we don't need to add storage. You already got an M.2 card. You don't need a video card because you already got a video card. You don't need a case. You don't need a power supply. You don't need the operating system or the monitor. Okay, so all in all, looking at the AM5 start as a best type kit, it's going to cost you right here $500. And plus with promo discounts, $25 discount. The original was the $523.98, but you can get it for less than $500. Those 3 parts. That's pretty much the majority of your system. And do remind you of that. That's the majority of your system. But if I'm looking to go to the AM5 series, those are the 3 components I would need to move up to the next level. But in order for me to go up to that next level, that means I would have to take and go up at least 200 watt. No, I might be able to get away with it on the same power supply. So it would cost me $500 to go up to the AM5 series, to the next step in evolution. And also too, thinking about it, and that 7600X probably has overclocking capabilities. You're going to need a hell of a cooler to keep it cool though. If it's anything like the X series, like the 7950X, then you're going to need some super coolant, like an AIO cooler. That'll probably do it. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. So, but to look at it, it's going to cost you $500. Now, in order to do what I just did, that's only going to cost you $329. That's still in your wheelhouse. You know, less than $400, but this is less than $500. This is just $100 more. So this all depends on you. Okay? Depends on if that's what you want to do or you don't. So I'm giving you a look at a starter set for the AM5 series. It's going to cost you $500. I don't know if that includes the tax. It probably don't. But then you got the AM4 series. You know, the best in the biz. That, I mean, it's not the best of the best, but you know, they give you $100. Now, understand this: Micro Center is giving you $170 motherboard for $100 with RAM to get that 5600 X3D. Keep that in mind. You're getting 16 gigs of G-Skill RAM, Ripjaw RAM, and a motherboard that's $160. So those two together, that's over $200. And they're giving it to you for $100. So that brings the price of your CPU down when you go to balance it overall. So, you're taking off a little bit of here and there for your processor. So that means your processor comes down to, and if you were to take, and I'm going to do this really quick, I'm going to try to do it really quick, do a calculator. So you figure 329, and you add on taxes and everything else, comes to about 415. Okay, I know this for a fact because I already bought it. So 415, and you divide that by 3 pieces. On average, that brings it down to about maybe $140 a piece. So if you break it up into threes, the total price, then you're looking at about $138, $140 a piece for each piece. Like your processor's $140, your motherboard's $140, and I don't think your RAM's going to be $140. So, kind of do your math and divide it up and see what the overall price is and break it up into threes, and that way, you'll see what you actually paid for you paid for your motherboard and so on. So do keep that in mind. So when it comes to that, and then you're wondering what you're spending on, you're wondering what you're spending on your processor, your RAM, and your motherboard, basically you could say like this, the package, if you break it up into parts, the package is a good deal, but it depends on if you want AM4. Now, if you're going to want AM5, then you got to figure, you got to put in there the warranty. If you're going to go to the AM5 platform and everything else, now you're going to be adding probably another $50-$60 for the warranty, or 30 or 40, depends on where you get it from. If you get it from Amazon, you'll pay about $30, maybe $35 from warranties, for everything, maybe if you're lucky. But then you get, have your system for 4 to 5 years, and if anything breaks down within then, you can always send it in for a warranty claim. RMA it to Amazon or whoever, it goes to. So, but having carry that 4 to 5 years of a warranty gives you some kind of hope and chance that if something messes up and it's where, let's say the motherboard decides to self-destruct, or the processor decides to self-destruct, or the RAM decides to self-destruct. At least you got a backup plan to where you can get it either fixed, replaced, or whatever the case is. So that's a good plus in thinking about it. Or if you want to go used and you want to buy all used AM5 parts, then you do that at your own risk. I can't tell you how to buy that, but I can tell you used part wise, they're going to be costing probably just the same as the new parts. So you're best off to just buy the new parts, get a warranty, and be done. That's my conclusion. So, and there it is. You have what my thoughts are. This is the final conclusion. Hands down, 5700X is running better than the 5600X 3D. And definitely better than the 5600G. But they're all within a certain parameters of each other. So that makes them all three great processors. Just to let you know that. And if that's the case, then, you get your hands on some good stuff. If you get a 5600X, you got a good processor. Or a 5600, you got a good processor. Or the 5500, you got a good processor. So keep that in mind. So we're not going to make this a long video. If this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. And thank you to all the new subscribers. Welcome to the family. Welcome to JJ's PC Builds. And all my veteran subscribers, much love to you. And thank you for all that you do, helping the channel out, watching the videos, and doing all that sorts of good things. Do remember, if you subscribe and you watch the videos, it helps the channel. Okay, it's absolutely free. It costs nothing to subscribe, so you're best off to just subscribe. That way you get up to date on the videos that come out, so you don't miss a thing. Even though I missed yesterday because I fell asleep, but that's another issue for another video. But anyway, until the next time in the next video, this is JJ on JJ's PC Builds. We will see you on the next one.